Live from the Felt Forum in New York City, the NBA Passage of Renewal. 2,400 rabid fans are here. 15 hopeful stars of the future in the league. 250 members of the media. And you and I will be watching the renewal of the NBA, the restocking.
The 1989 NBA Draft took place on Tuesday, June 27, 1989, in New York City, New York, at the Felt Forum/Madison Square Garden at that time.
Ferry and Steve Jones. Rick, in our memory, as we were talking moments ago, never in the history of the NBA Draft.
This will be a different video in the way, in which I'll let the video go on until the very end.
Well, there's no question
Enjoy
about
the
that,
video.
Bob. It's a situation where I think in the past, teams tended to go for the big centers. There's not a lot of them around this year. They also tried to draft people who had the best athletic talent. Well, now it seems as though the teams are really making specific efforts to try and pick up players to shore up some of their weaknesses. So it should be a very interesting evening indeed.
Steve Jones, there are a lot of general managers biting their nails on this draft. Why so?
Well, their careers could go down the drain. Never before has it been so tight, and most of these general managers would like to be in a position lower than 10. They wouldn't have to take the responsibility for the fortunes of the franchise. It's very even, it's very close, it's going to be very interesting.
15 of the top draft choice candidates are here with us at Madison Square Garden, and Craig Sager will be talking to them. Craig?
Well, thank you, Bob. Two of the promising stars are Shawn Elliott and Vlade Divac, who were both born on the same day, February 2nd, 1968. I don't know if you believe in astrology, but their horoscopes for today read, forget about slights, put-downs, and focus on new career openings and opportunities. It's in the stars.
Thank you, Craig. Now, the first pick this year, thanks to the lottery, belongs to Sacramento, and they are the ones who are the first in the order of draft. Sacramento, LA Clippers, and San Antonio won those positions by lottery. The rest are in inverse proportion to how they won games. Picks 8 through 14 are Dallas through Golden State. 15 through 21, Denver through Utah. Some of these positions are changed because of trades, you see in parentheses there, and down through the world champion Detroit Pistons. Now, the rules of the draft are very easy. It'll be easy for you to follow tonight as we cover this thing gavel to gavel from New York. There are only 2 rounds for the first time in the history of the NBA draft. 5 minutes between each pick in the first round, and in the second round, the personnel directors, coaches, and GMs will have to really make up their minds rapidly because there's only 2 minutes between the rounds then. Now, as we told you, Sacramento is first. Bill Russell is the general manager at Sacramento. He has been zipped up about who the Sacramento Kings are going to pick since the day of the lottery. So we don't know. Even as this moment, you and I, Rick, Steve, and everybody watching and everybody here are going to find out, including the NBA people. And Rick, let's talk first of all about Sacramento, what some of the possibilities are, and what that team looks like.
Well, Bob, I tell you, I really think it's a situation where the Sacramento Kings have made more moves in the last few years than United Van Lines, and Bill Russell's got another surprise in store for us, because the talk around the area here is that Bill is liable to go with Purvis Ellison, maybe trying to have a clone of himself, a guy that he thinks can become another Bill Russell. And it really is a situation where nobody, I think, expected Purvis Ellison to be the guy to be picked number 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see who the Sacramento Kings come up with. That'll change things dramatically for the rest of the teams picking behind Sacramento.
Now, you saw a live shot a moment ago of Danny Ferry. You just saw a headshot there of Purvis Ellison. Shawn Elliott is strong, Stacey King, Glen Rice. What are your thoughts there, Steve?
Well, you know, Rick and a clone, at least you start with the guy with the same hand. Stacey King is left-handed. He is a scorer. This is a team that has said they want to run. They want to be able to score points. It'll be very interesting to see what they're going to do. They have been zip-locked mouths, and it's going to be real interesting to see because they are going to change the entire order of the draft. Everyone has it. The 2 best all-around players, either Elliott or Ferry, slotted at 1 or 2. But if that doesn't happen, things will change in a hurry.
There you were looking down a list of some of the 15 players who are here. Nick Anderson, B.J. Armstrong, Mookie Blaylock, etc. You were looking at some of them. You saw Gary Leonard there. You also saw Danny Ferry, etc. So one, as you look in the back row, there's Glen Rice of Michigan, Purvis Ellison there with the dark suit. And sitting with the white shirt is Randy White. And there is Vlade Divac from Yugoslavia. And now we're ready to find out, you and I together, the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To NBA fans here at the Felt Forum in New York, to those gathered at team draft headquarters across the country, and to our national primetime television audience on Superstation TBS, welcome to the 1989 NBA Draft. There are two changes in the draft this year. First, the draft has been shortened from 3 rounds to 2 rounds. Second, each round will have 2 additional selections. And I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome the new fans of our 2 new teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Orlando Magic. In the first round, each team has 5 minutes to make a selection. In the second round, selections must be made in 2 minutes. I think everyone might be anxious to get started, so let's go. The first selection of the 1989 NBA Draft will be made by the Sacramento Kings.
A runner is headed up to the commissioner right now, who has a slip of paper phoned in from Bill Russell to the Felt Forum here. And that gentleman will walk up to David Stern in any moment with a piece of paper. They will check it behind. Over to the right of your screen sits Marty Blake, Rod Thorne, etc. They check it first of all to make sure that things are in order and that everybody is in agreement that it is the correct pick and the one that the Sacramento Kings want. Then they will bring that to David Stern, and he will announce it. He is as anxious to learn of this as you and I. Will it be Purvis Ellison? Will it be Danny Ferry? Will it be Sean Elliott? And now here it is.
With that first pick in the 1989 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Purvis Ellison from the University of Louisville.
The only Louisville player ever to total 2,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. Jerry West of LA says he's got great hands, a great grasp of the game. A great strong performance as a senior, 17.5 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 98 block shots, 62% from the field. Marty Blake, the super scout of the NBA, says he's a great passer. He scores in and out and can handle the ball. Purvis Ellison, the #1 pick in the 1989 NBA Draft, will be going to the Sacramento Kings. So Purvis Ellison, there are his stats in 88-89, his senior year, 6'9", 210 pounds. Steve Jones, your feelings about him?
Well, the thing about Purvis Ellison is he is a tremendous all-around performer. He has the ability to block shots, and that, of course, is one of the things that the Sacramento Kings will be looking for. He has the ability to make the pass in traffic and also play big inside. He plays better the closer the game is, so he's a big game performer.
Now, Rick Barry, as we look at Purvis Ellison, everybody knows in the NBA that Sacramento has a weak up-front game. How much can this rookie help the Sacramento Kings immediately?
Well, I think he can help them a great deal, Bob. I mean, as Steve pointed out, he has so many facets to his game, but I think the biggest difference would be the way he's able to play defense, and certainly with Bill Russell to be there to perhaps work with him and give him some pointers, that should help them a great deal. The one question that I have about Purvis Ellison, and so do a lot of other people, are basically his attitude. He, of course, you know, was released from the Pan Am team because of some problems there, some disciplinary problems. Is he really going to play as strong as they would need him to play to make him into the player that the Kings need?
Well, we're all going to get a chance to meet Purvis Ellison together. The first pick in the 1989 draft is with Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. It was billed as a draft of uncertainty. Purvis Ellison, when were you certain that you'd be the #1 pick?
When the commissioner announced it.
Well, back when you were a freshman, you got the moniker as Never Nervous Purvis. I think we saw a new side of Purvis Ellison. You look pretty nervous out there.
Actually, I wasn't that nervous.
You did break into a sweat, though.
I think all the guys down there were really anxious for the decision to be made, and I just thank God for giving me the opportunity to play basketball, and I'm just happy with the decision that Coach Russell and the rest of the management at Sacramento made.
Well, Jerry Reynolds obviously would be glad to be able to coach you, but Bill Russell, I think, will be spending a lot of time at practice. What about being billed as the next Bill Russell?
Well, he was a great player, and I'm grateful to get the opportunity to be able to learn from who I consider one of the best centers of all time. And the fact that he can give me some of his knowledge, hopefully I can become or be able to be the type player that he was at the Celtics.
Well, thanks for being with us. Never or almost never, Purvis Ellison. Congratulations on being the #1 pick. Let's go back to Bob Neal.
There's the mother and father of Purvis Ellison. You don't have to tell anybody that they are very proud and very excited. Now, the second pick in the NBA draft belongs to a team that seems to always be picking very high, the Los Angeles Clippers. They have had buzzard's luck with their picks, however. Steve Jones, last year you were out in Los Angeles when they picked Danny Manning. He tore up his knee. Look at their #1s. Talk about their luck with the picks.
Well, you know, it's a star-crossed franchise, and for some reason or another, these people have not been able to turn the franchise around. It's a team that's loaded with young talent, and certainly being in a position of selecting #2, now with, again, 2 great multi-purpose players sitting right in front of you. What do? Danny Ferry, Sean Elliott, and their style of play happens to be upbeat, and they like an open court game. Shawn Elliott, Rick Barry?
Well, I'll tell you now, you see, Steve, this is what's making this draft so interesting, guys, is that the talk that we hear going around is that they may very well pass over Shawn Elliott because they didn't like the way his knee came out in their examinations of it. Also, they may pass on Danny Ferry, a very multi-talented player, to go for perhaps one of the great shooters to come out of college basketball in many a year, and that's Glen Rice. What we're hearing is that Glen Rice may very well be the pick of the Clippers, which means Danny Ferry and Shawn Elliott, the guys that everybody picked 1 and 2, may drop down now to 3 and 4. That's got to make the Heat and also San Antonio very happy.
All right, you saw Danny Ferry there, and let's look at the strength and weaknesses of the Los Angeles Clippers club. Their strength is they got a lot of young talent. The weakness, leadership, direction from management. As we said, it's either tough decisions by management or buzzard's luck that cause them to have all their problems with their draft choices. Steve, let's go back to that decision again as you look at Glen Rice from Michigan. Is it possible to let a player of the caliber of Danny Ferry get by if you're #2?
What they will ask is, can we trade our owner if it doesn't work out? This is a team that has had to make a real crucial decision, and one of the areas that they seem weakest in is perimeter play. Rice is a tremendous offensive player, the best pure shooter in this draft, the group of people that we have seen, so it wouldn't hurt them to take him. But again, when you talk about all-around ability, you want to try to get as many people as you can, because that's the direction that the game in the league is going.
All right, and let's not forget one thing. Bob Ferry, the general manager of the Washington Bullets, is the father of Danny Ferry. They've been known to take one pick and then later on make a deal for another pick, and after that second one is made, make a trade. Let's go now to NBA Commissioner David Stern and find out about the Clippers.
With the second pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Danny Ferry from Duke.
Danny Ferry, 6'10", 230 pounds, played high school basketball at DeMatha in Maryland. A spawning ground for great basketball players. He was the winner of all the awards in his senior year that Sean Elliott did not win. First player in ACC history with at least 2,000 career points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists. He is a great passing big man, can play the post position pretty well, has a good perimeter game, and not very many weaknesses to the game at all for Danny Ferry. A lot of people all year long thought Danny Ferry would be the #1 player selected in the draft. That was Purvis Ellison, so another big guy goes, and you get a great idea of just how big he is by standing beside David Stern. Bob Ferry, the general manager of the Bullets, we told you, has participated in 18 drafts, but first as a player, then as a GM. But today's draft is one of very mixed emotions for Ferry, and barring any sudden developments, and Bob Ferry is, and that means barring a trade, is going to watch another team be the owners of his son. Bob Ferry shared some emotions with us.
I was from St. Louis, and I got drafted by the St. Louis Hawks. You know, I think there was, at that time, there was only 8 teams, so there was only 8 draft picks, and it was a situation where, you know, they're just, television wasn't a big factor then. You know, the interest in basketball wasn't near as great as it is today. Since he's been little, you know, he and my other son have worked out together, and I've worked out with him, and we've really, I can remember maybe when they were both 8 years old and 6 years old, sat around and talked and how to work on their game, and I think it became obvious to me after his sophomore year in college that he had, real pro potential. It's a great feeling. It's probably every father, NBA father in the league would like that to happen to them. And it's been wonderful. He's going to be a very good player, I'm sure. Besides being a very good player, he's been even more than that as a son.
Well, like father, like son. Bob Ferry, #1 pick of the St. Louis Hawks back in 1959. 30 years later, Danny Ferry, the #1 pick of the LA Clippers. Before I touch you, anything like you to say to your father, who I'm sure is watching at the Capitol Center?
Well, just good luck with the 9th pick, and hello to everybody back at the Capitol Center.
The toughest thing about being a success, you have to keep on being a success. How did you improve your game from the High School Player of the Year in '85 to the Naismith winner in '89, now to the #1 pick of the Clippers?
Well, it was a great situation at Duke. I was able to play under a great coach, Coach K, and he really helped me refine the mental parts of the games, and as far as just controlling my head a little bit. And with that, I got confidence and progressed, I think, and I just really enjoyed Duke a whole lot, both on and off the court.
Okay, well, congratulations on joining the Clippers. Purvis Ellison, the #1 pick. Danny Ferry, the #2 pick.
Bob Neal, Rick Barry, Steve Jones with you from Madison Square Garden, the 1989 NBA Draft. Sacramento took Ellison, the Clippers, Ferry, and now it is the turn of San Antonio. And let's go to the commissioner.
With the 3rd pick in the 1989 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Shawn Elliott from the University of Arizona.
Shawn Elliott is 6'8", 205 pounds. His hometown is Tucson, Arizona. Shawn Elliott can, you use the cliche, do it all. He can, folks. It is just the simple truth. Raised his scoring average to a career-high 22.3 as a senior, 7.2 rebounds, 4.1 assists. He can play small forward and big guard. He's a great passer. And we've talked about the brace on his knee, the questions about his health. Rick Barry, as he stands up there, let's first of all talk a little bit about Shawn Elliott and what the Clippers must be thinking, because we had heard that they had questions about the condition of his knee.
Well, obviously, they thought that knee was not good enough to play, but as you can see in these highlights here, Shawn moved very well during his collegiate career, did a tremendous job playing for Lute Olson down there at Arizona, and I think that he's going to be very happy to develop right along with a fellow by the name of David Robinson under the tutelage of Larry Brown. I think it's going to be a situation down there where they need to have a situation where a new sitcom, Larry Knows Best. So the guys are going to have to really believe in that Larry knows best and do what Larry Brown wants, because that's the way it's going to work best.
There's the brace.
That is his good luck charm at this point. He wears it as a security blanket. He doesn't really need the brace. He has been given a medical clearance, and it's as sound as a surgically repaired knee can be. The interesting thing about Elliott is that on every situation that he's played in, he has been a winner, and he's made the people that play with him play better. So you've got a great situation for him to go to with David Robinson as a center, Terry Cummings, a veteran who can score the basketball, Willie Anderson coming off a terrific year.
Well, let's find out about what Shawn Elliott thinks about the knee and also about being the newest member of the San Antonio Spurs. He's with Greg Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. Many people had questioned your knee. You never answer a critic unless he's right. What did you tell San Antonio about your knee?
We sent a report out to all the NBA teams. We sent some good reports and we sent some bad reports, and we let them make up their own mind. But I think the good things outweigh the bad things easily.
Why do you wear the brace?
It's more psychological now. I've been wearing it for 7 years. And, once you get used to that kind of thing, it's kind of second nature to wear it on the court.
I guess sort of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, wore the goggles even though there's nothing wrong with his eyesight.
Yeah, nothing's wrong with it. Nothing's wrong with the knee. If I can produce with it on, what's wrong with it?
What about the Spurs? Obviously, this is a team that has gone under a major change since last year. Terry Cummings, David Robinson, now Shawn Elliott. You must be excited.
Could be real exciting. Just got to wait and see what happens.
Okay, well, thanks for being with us. Now let's go back to Bob Neal.
So Shawn Elliott goes to San Antonio. Remember, this is our first time to televise the NBA draft in prime time, and you're looking at Shawn Elliott here, much as in a few years ago, people were looking at a picture of a young player from North Carolina named Michael Jordan, who later turned into the Michael Jordan that we know today simply as Air Jordan. So this is really the renewal passage for the NBA. A lot of these players, if you're not big NBA or big college fans, you might not know them as household names, but they could very well become household names soon. So as we talk about Shawn Elliott, I know, Steve Jones, that you feel in terms of overall talent, he's about as strong as any player who was available this year.
I think of the players who are available suited to the NBA style of play, Shawn Elliott all-around ability certainly stands out in my mind. The ability to run the floor, pass it, rebound it, play with people and make them better was the big plus for him. The big question mark, of course, was a knee. You had a bad knee,
hey, I
played
for 12 years with a bad knee, so that didn't really bother me all that much. And just go by his past performances. But more importantly, he's a great young man with David Robinson, the kind of guys Larry Brown likes.
Now, next up in the 1989 NBA draft was one of last year's expansion teams, the Miami Heat. When you ask about what does the Miami Heat need, well, the answer has to be just about everything. But a lot of people think that Miami would go for a bona fide scorer, particularly a guy who can shoot it from the perimeter. Do you fellas agree with that? Obviously, they could use virtually anybody.
Well, Bob and Steve, I think you probably would agree with me. I mean, you can get a guy to shoot from the perimeter. That's great. But when you can get a guy who also can score inside, that's even better. And Stacey King is still available.
Stacey King is the guy. He has got some serious inside scoring ability, can run the floor well. Plus, he's got size. And the rule of thumb in the NBA is you take big before you take small.
Miami only won 15 games last year. Miami elected to go with a lot of young players. You may recall in expansion, Charlotte in the expansion draft picked up a lot of veteran players hoping to win a few more games, which they did. Ronnie Rothstein is the coach in Miami. They played some great defense for a young team, but had no offense. Let's see if they help that. Let's go to David Stern.
With the 4th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Miami Heat selects Glen Rice from the University of Michigan.
There's the scorer that Miami thinks they need. You remember Glen Rice leading Michigan to the NCAA championship, averaging nearly 31 points a game, shattering Bill Bradley's record for most points in the NCAA tournament with 184 points. 6'7", 215. He came out of Northwestern High in Flint, Michigan. And Marty Blake, the NBA super scout, said, quote, and remember, he's seen thousands of players, Glen Rice is one of the best shooters I have ever seen.
Bob, I tell you, this really shocks me because, sure, he is a great shooter, one of the best I've seen in many, many a year, but with Stacey King still available, to go for a smaller guy, a guy who really is not that talented at getting his own shot and needs some help to get it, whereas King can do so many more things. Very surprised, but he will be an outstanding player in the league, but he's going to have his work cut out for him getting shots in Miami.
Steve Jones, we see ability to create own shot coming off the screen.
They'll be talking about Miami Vice if this doesn't come out right.
We're at Madison Square Garden in New York City with the 1989 NBA draft. Charlotte will come up next. Glen Rice was selected by Miami. He's with Craig Sager right now.
Well, thank you, Bob. From a state championship at Flint High School to a national championship at Michigan, now to a team that lost 67 games a year ago. You think you can make the adjustment?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty well in the type of shape to make the adjustment. Yeah, I feel I'm ready.
Saw your appearance, obviously an exciting moment for them as well for you. How does this compare with winning the NCAA title?
It doesn't. It's very exciting winning the national title, but I think entering the professional league is much more exciting to me.
Well, thanks for being with us. Glen Rice, the #1 pick of the Miami Heat. Let's go back to Bob Neal.
Glen Rice from the University of Michigan. Now let's quickly review what's happening here. Prime time NBA draft on the Superstation. Hope you're enjoying it. Kind of like a political convention. See who's going to get nominated next. And it's about as mysterious this year. The first 4 picks have been Purvis Ellison to Sacramento, Danny Ferry to the LA Clippers, Shawn Elliott to San Antonio, and Glen Rice to Miami. Next up, Charlotte. They are between a rock and a hard place. They said, their owner, George Shen, we got to take J.R. Reed.
Well, I tell you, this is going to make it very interesting. Doug Collins and the rest of the Chicago Bull organization has to be sitting back there saying, please go ahead and do that, because that means Stacey King is still out there for him. And boy, would they love to get their hands on him, I would think, Steve.
No question about it. And making such a statement like that certainly puts your organization in a difficult position, because they may feel that they need more scoring. And at this point, Stacey King is the proven scorer with 26 plus a year ago, and Reed is coming off of an injury-scarred season. So it'll be real interesting to see how they approach this philosophically. Of course, you know, they have the problem of saying, what if and they know that they can never forget it since he was right down the road at Chapel Hill.
Now remember, King, of course, finished his college eligibility, and J.R. Reed is also an early entry player. As a matter of fact, J.R. Reed is not here in New York. He had to stay in Chapel Hill to take a final, even though he's leaving college early with Dean Smith's blessing, so to speak. There have been some great undergraduates come out of there, like Michael Jordan and Worthy. Will they take J.R. Reed? Here's David Stern.
With the 5th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select J.R. Reed from the University of North Carolina.
Well, George Shinn, the owner at Charlotte, said we're going to take J.R. Reed. He remained true to his word. J.R. Reed has a big body. He's 6'9", 256. His hometown is Chesapeake, Virginia. Of course, he went to the University of North Carolina. He needs some help in his rebounding for his size. As we look at him, Steve, your feelings about his potential success?
Well, I think J.R. Reed will be one of those Carolina players that expands his game offensively. He'll be a better scorer. The concern is, can he shoot the jump shot from the perimeter, having played all his time with his back to the basket? It will be real interesting how he approaches the physical aspects of the NBA. He certainly has the size.
So J.R. Reed goes to Charlotte, much as George Shinn said he would. They have passed on Stacey King from Oklahoma, who is a proven inside scorer. And by the way, in case you wondered, J.R. stands for Herman, the real first name of J.R. Reed. We'll find out more about that as he succeeds in his NBA career. So now that puts Chicago in a very interesting place. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, gentlemen, but J.R. Reed goes. That leaves Chicago with a beautiful opportunity to get an inside player, and they've needed some help there since Oakley left. Horace Grant is there, of course. Cartwright is there, but King can play center and power forward, Rick.
Oh, definitely, Bob. I think we've seen a couple of surprises with Ellison being the #1 pick. Bill Russell doing something like that didn't surprise me. But then, of course, then you had Rice going to Miami instead of King, and the Reed situation. So I would think that Chicago would have to go with King. If they don't take King, I'm definitely going to be you might have to pick me up off the platform here.
Steve will handle that, as a matter of fact. Now, in Chicago, we have a remote hookup with Chicago, and later in this draft, we're going to be talking to Bulls head coach Doug Collins. They have 3 first-round picks. You're looking live here at the Bulls office in Chicago. Jerry Krause, Doug Collins, and the Bulls Brain Trust are back in behind those offices on Michigan Boulevard on the north side of downtown Chicago. The Bulls, the surprise team in the NBA playoffs. They took everybody tough, played everybody hard, but of course, everybody said Chicago needs to get some help for Michael Jordan and their young talent. Cartwright came and played pretty well in the playoffs for them. Horace Grant, there's been some rumors that there's been a disagreement between Jordan and Horace Grant, and that Horace Grant may be in the doghouse at the moment with Michael Jordan. But Chicago with an opportunity for King. Who else might Chicago look for? We'll find out from David Stern right now at the podium.
With the 6th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Stacey King from the University of Oklahoma.
Well, they all like Stacey King. He is versatile. Marty Blake of the NBA says that he likes King's prospects to play center along with power forward. He rebounds, runs the court well, can block shots, has a pretty good range, 15 feet, even maybe better than that. A consensus first-team All-American. He's 6'11", 235 pounds, went to high school in Lawton, Oklahoma, and now he doesn't have to go too far away to the Midwestern city of Chicago. And the Bulls are getting very good, very fast.
Well, the Bulls get fat. That's what they do. When you get a chance to play with Michael Jordan with this kind of size and mobility, it certainly is going to help your game. There's some concern about his ability to play facing the basket, but I think he's a scorer, Rick, and any scorer will find a way to get the ball in the basket. And when you're playing with Jordan, all you have to do is make yourself available, and he will do the rest.
Well, of course, as you see there, he can run the court playing that high-powered offense. The other thing he'll give them, too, is another guy to shore up their defense inside. He can block some shots.
Let's go over to Craig Sager right now and meet him.
Well, thank you, Bob. You could have gone #1. Instead, you go #6. Any disappointments?
Oh, definitely not. I'm playing with one of the best players in the NBA, and I'm very fortunate to be in Chicago.
Have you talked to Doug Collins at all, the coach, lately?
No, I haven't, but I'll be anxious to hear from him.
What's it going to be like playing with Michael Jordan? You get to watch him on TV all the time?
I think it's going to be easy for me because he'll be drawing triple teams, and I'll be able to score a little bit easier than I think I will.
Your close friend and teammate Mookie Blaylock is out there. What'd you tell Mookie on your way up here?
I just told him just to relax and just let everything fall into place. He'll be somewhere, and whoever gets Mookie Blaylock will get a steal, I guarantee you.
Well, the Bulls have a couple picks coming up. Who knows? Maybe you can still be teammates.
I hope so.
The draft will continue from New York in a moment. Please stay with us on Superstation TBS as we're live from the Felt Forum at Madison Square Garden.
There's Danny Ferry. You see him wearing his LA Clippers. I wonder if he's talking to his dad, Bob, the general manager of Washington. Purvis Ellison was the first player selected by Sacramento, then Ferry. Shawn Elliott went to San Antonio. Glen Rice to Miami. J.R. Reed to Charlotte. Stacey King to Chicago. And Indiana is about to come up next. There you see Tom Hammonds and then Tim Hardaway. There is Gary Leonard, the 7-footer from Missouri. George McLeod of Florida State, a great scorer. He is sitting beside John Morton, who came on in the NCAAs for Seton Hall, particularly against the University of Michigan. Indiana comes up next. They need some perimeter scoring, and what else?
Well, I really think they need some help on the inside, Bob. They need to get some people to do a little work, yeoman's work down underneath the basket. They got plenty of perimeter shooters.
Well, Reggie Miller has been their guy to stick it from long distance, and when I look at the team, I think they need some additional help at the point guard as well as inside, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with this pick, given the fact that they are changing philosophies and Dick Versace has his first year as the head coach.
A good question. Might they go small with offensive power? We'll find out in just a moment. Here's David Stern. Now,
with the 7th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers select George McLeod from Florida State.
There you have George McLeod. He is a perimeter scorer, non-parallel in some people's mind. There have been some questions about whether or not he has as consistent a game as some people would like, whether he plays as great a defense. He's 6'6", 205, but this man has great range. He's not really a point guard, but he passes the ball well, good ball handler, great free throw shooter, and you're surprised, Rick Barry.
Well, I really am, Bob. I mean, this really does surprise me. You got Reggie Miller, you got Person, you got Stepanovic, who plays away from the basket. I mean, they got plenty of outside shooters. Maybe there's a trade in the work here to try and do something else. The Pacers' problem is they've been playing like trotters. They got to get the right kind of people back and get on track.
George McLeod has the ability to shoot the ball long distance. He's got major league range and deep out on the floor. If you're concerned about McLeod at all, it would be his shot selection when he takes those shots. But certainly he has big offensive skills, particularly from deep out on the floor.
That makes another player that has a problem with shot selection then for that team, doesn't it? Maybe 3 of them.
Well, you have to think there's a possibility of trades. I don't know if George McLeod has heard anything about that or whether he thinks he'll stick at Indiana. He's with Craig Sager right now. Let's find out.
Well, thank you, Bob. The luck of the draft can affect a player's career, but of all the players that talked to the past several days, you thought with your versatility you could fit in anywhere. What about Indiana?
Well, yes, I feel like I can fit in with Indiana. They're a very young team. They got a good front court. And hopefully my presence even make the backcourt even better.
I know you're nervous out there. Who's the first person you're going to call?
I'm going to call my mom.
What are you going to tell her?
I love her.
Well, one of your classmates at Florida State, Deion Sanders, went prime time this year, of course, with his football career and also his baseball career. Now you've gone prime time as well.
Well, yes. Deion is a real good friend of mine, and all I can say is hello, Deion.
All right, George McLeod, now a member of the Indiana Pacers. Let's go back to Bob Neal.
Well, Pat Kennedy, the head coach at Florida State, is here, and Pat Kennedy had said earlier that he thought that George McLeod could end up somewhere around Indiana if the things fell right in this draft. Once again, we have no firm rumors of any kind of Indiana trade. We are hearing one rumor bouncing around here, though, that we'll pass along to you. Still just a rumor, is that Chicago may be trying to move Dave Corzine, their center power forward, backup player, to Orlando for a draft choice. Chicago has 18 and 20 coming up later in the draft.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, Steve. I mean, they just got Stacey King, so Corzine does become a bit expendable.
And of course now they're looking to improve the depth and quality of their team and thinking that they would have a few years to develop it, so it's going to be real interesting. The next team up is Dallas. And Dallas is only thinking about one thing. Remember when we had a chance to select Karl Malone? Who is the guy that everybody's been talking about as the next Karl Malone? It happens to be Randy White. He's sitting there. The question is, will they take him because they need help up front?
There have been also some rumors here that Tom Hammonds is liked a great deal by the Dallas Mavericks. Hammonds is the 6'9" power forward candidate from Georgia Tech. So Randy White, Tom Hammonds are pretty good possibilities. We were talking earlier, Rick, about Dallas has a lot of big players, up-front players, not necessarily a lot of real good inside scoring punch, however.
Well, that's true, Bob, and I think that White would be a good choice for them. I mean, he does give them a lot of versatility. He can play facing the basket. He can post up. He can do a lot of things for them, and he would be a very good addition to that team. And if Roy Tarpley's problems are straightened out, this is not a team that some people are saying is rebuilding. This is still a team that'd be a very tough basketball team next year. They still have one of the best back courts and some pretty good depth in the front court. If they can get a little bit more out of a couple of people, they'll be tough again next year.
You were looking at a picture of Randy White from Louisiana Tech, and a lot of people are wondering if Randy White is the second coming of Karl Malone. The similarities between the two are really uncanny. In fact, this week, an article in Sports Illustrated about White was titled Mailman 2, in deference to Malone's nickname. Of course, they both attended Louisiana Tech. They're almost identical in height and weight. The final year stats also almost identical, with a slight edge to White. Playing with the Utah Jazz, Malone, known as the mailman because he always delivers, has become the preeminent power forward in the NBA. Can White continue to follow in Malone's footsteps and arrive special delivery in the NBA?
I think right now you should give Randy his credit and let Randy White be Randy White, and don't compare him with anybody because no players played alike in the league. I don't care who you are.
Karl Malone's proved himself. He's the mailman. Maybe you call Randy White the mail kid. He's only 21. Let's find out what Dallas does. Here's the commissioner, David Stern.
With the 8th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Randy White from Louisiana Tech.
There's Randy White. He's 6'8", about 250 pounds. He's from Shreveport, Louisiana. Many comparisons to Karl Malone. He came from a very small town. He's worked out with the same trainer who worked with Karl Malone. He has actually pumped some iron with Karl Malone and said he had no idea how hard the mailman worked. Did you watch the power game of Randy White, Steve Jones?
White is very strong inside, and he also has the ability to put the ball on the floor and accelerate, and I think that's where the comparisons come from, that they do so many things in a similar vein. And for Dallas, they remember they had a chance to select Karl Malone, and they don't ever want to hear that they passed on Junior.
What's your thinking about this, Rick Barry? How the comparison between the two?
Well, I think they are similar players. Of course, Karl has grown up, and this young man really hasn't, but I think it was a good pick for Dallas. They needed help on the front line. They certainly cannot expect that their frontline people now are going to provide all the scoring for years to come. Adrian Dantley is not going to be around forever, and you don't know what the situation is with Karl Malone, so an excellent choice for Dallas.
Well, let's get an opportunity now to meet Randy White. I remember when Karl Malone was drafted a few years ago, he was so emotional he actually shed a tear. Let's find out about the emotions of Randy White.
Well, thank you, Bob. The comparisons will probably continue, but now that you're in Dallas, you're finally out of the shadow of Karl Malone.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure being compared to a player like Karl. You know, he's a great player, and I think, you know, being compared to him is a compliment to myself. But I told myself last night in my prayers that once I made it to the league and once I'm finally picked as a player, that I would answer no more Karl Malone questions.
Sort of like a homecoming. You've been training and working out in Dallas.
Yeah, I've been working out there for the last month or so, and you know, when I did the Sports Illustrated article, I really, you know, impressed that I would like to be in Dallas, and I was fortunate enough by God that he put me there.
Well, thanks a lot, Randy White, the newest member of the Dallas Mavericks. Up next, the Washington Bullets as the NBA draft continues in prime time on Superstation TBS.
Our digital update of the 1989 NBA draft from the Felt Forum in Madison Square Garden. Purvis Ellison, #1 to the Kings. Danny Ferry went to the Los Angeles Clippers. Shawn Elliott to the Spurs. No real shocks there of any great import, but then Glen Rice to Michigan, J.R. Reed to Charlotte, Stacey King to the Bulls, and they got to be singing in Chicago. George McLeod, a somewhat of a surprise to Indiana, and Randy White, the power forward, goes to the Dallas Mavericks, and those are the first 8 picks in the draft. Coming up next, are the Washington Bullets. And let's find out exactly who Washington takes. Here's, once again, David Stern.
With the 9th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Washington Bullets select Tom Hammonds from Georgia Tech.
Tom Hammonds, a power forward from Georgia Tech. He is a Florida native. He is 6'9", very quick, very strong, has a pretty good turnaround jump shot. I happen to know him through his college career, and an upstanding student who's about to graduate from Georgia Tech, going to have his jersey retired. There are some questions, however, Steve Jones, about just how wide-ranging the talents of Tom Hammonds are.
Well, I think one of the things that they would like about Tom Hammonds is his work ethic. This guy comes to play every single night. He basically is an inside player, a turnaround jump shooter, and certainly as a big guy, you don't have to worry as much about handling the ball. But he likes it down close to the paint. They call him the Terminator. We'll find out as he gets any of that from Wes Unseld as they try to build on really a team that's been an overachiever through the course of the past season when they won 40 games when no one expected they would.
Tom Hammonds definitely a proven inside scorer. How much he'll develop with Washington, we'll find out next year in the 89-90 NBA season. Now, coming up next, the first pick of this year's expansion teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, of course, Minnesota will be new into the NBA this go-round, but the pro basketball is not really all that new to Minnesota. Those of us old enough, of course, that includes all three of us, could remember the Minneapolis Lakers. They were one of the first dynasties in the National Basketball Association. They, as a matter of fact, won some titles back. 1948-49 was the first title they won. They won 5 out of 6 titles during that span. And the Lakers were led by the league's first dominant big man, 7-footer George Mikan, a 3-time NBA scoring leader. Some other notable Lakers include, of course, the Hall of Famer Slater Martin. So even though they're an expansion team in the NBA, the Lakers in the 59-60 season left Minneapolis, went to Los Angeles, but they're about to get back, and let's go to Minneapolis. Paul Ryden is standing by there, and they've got a big party.
They sure do, Bob. Minnesota Timberwolves have their first full house, and it's at the Minneapolis Convention Center, where some 13,000 folks have gathered here for what they're calling the biggest draft party in NBA history. It's a wild one. Now upstairs, Coach Bill Musselman and his staff are hard at work at the rest of the draft. They're concerned with that. They are the brains of the organization. But down here, these 13,000 folks, this is the heart of the organization. They're just minutes away from their very first draft, and they're 29 years away from their last NBA franchise. It was a good one, 5 NBA titles, as you mentioned, but this is a new day, a new time, and we're with the first Timberwolf of all, Rick Mahorn. Rick, back here, they're saying bad boys. You're going to bring the franchise here now that it's retired?
I couldn't even hear you. All this noise and excitement is so great to hear all this great fan support we have here.
You guys, you met an exciting challenge in Detroit. You won the NBA title. Are you excited about the new challenges here now? You got a whole new set of problems to deal with.
Well, we have a good nucleus coming in right now, and everybody's looking forward to working hard and making sure that we can get the winning spirit back here in the Minnesota area.
You know, Isaiah Thomas said the bad boys are no more. They're retired. Are you going to open up a franchise here?
I'll probably open up a franchise, an ice cream franchise. Let's go.
No bad boys.
No bad boys.
Okay, listen, we all should mention also that Rick is the first official NBA, the first official Minnesota Timberwolf injury. You chipped your tooth today. You okay?
Yes, I am. I'm very much, I'm adequate right now.
Chewing on another player, no doubt, but you're all right.
Yes, I am.
Forget the back. The tooth is okay. At least you can talk. That's good. Thanks, Rick, for being with us, and good luck. There might be some people in Minneapolis who never forgave the Lakers for leaving in the first place, and I guarantee that they are going to be very forgiving of their Timberwolves, at least for now, while they welcome back the NBA to Minneapolis with open arms. Let's go back now to New York.
Thanks, Paul Ryden. Well, Rick Mahorn, one of the toughest inside players in the NBA. Tom Hammonds has just been drafted by Washington. He'll have to face Rick Mahorn. He's with Craig Sager now.
Well, thank you, Bob. Tom Hammonds here with Danny Ferry, a couple old rivals. You're going to play for his dad anyway. You'd want to switch hats?
No, I think I'll keep the hat I have.
All right. All right, well, obviously, college opens opportunities and doors. You have to walk through those doors yourself. Any insecurity at all about leaving college now, going to the NBA?
No, I'm really looking forward to the new challenge. I had a great 4 years there at Georgia Tech, and Coach Crimmins and all the whole coaching staff taught me a lot, but I'm really looking forward to the new challenge there at Washington.
What are you doing this summer as you prepare for your NBA career?
Going back to school and trying to finish up my degree.
So they can hang number 20 in the rafters.
Exactly.
Okay, Tom Hammonds, thanks for being with us. Let's go back to Bob Neal.
Just a few weeks ago, Minnesota and Orlando conducted the expansion draft to take players, unprotected players from NBA rosters, current veterans. And Minnesota did a pretty good job, particularly up front. Look at that. Mahorn, Steve Johnson, Brad Lohaus, they're big there. David Rivers from L.A., Mark Davis, Scott Roth, etc. We'll see how they're going to expand on that roster now with the regular draft. Here's David Stern.
With the 10th pick in the 1989 NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Pooh Richardson from UCLA.
Pooh Richardson from UCLA. Jerome is his real first name. He's a pure point guard, 6'2", 183 pounds. Pac-10 career assist leader. He can play defense too, Steve Jones.
Well, he can play defense. He's done a great job at UCLA of setting people up and also scoring the basketball. If there's a concern, it's been his weakness.
This last pick was the last pick of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. This video showed some of the first round of the 1989 NBA draft and showed the first 10 picks of the 1989 NBA draft. This channel is really trying to produce the best draft content out there for you all and to share more draft content like this for you all. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Without you all, this channel wouldn't have been able to make it this far. And once again, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, God and the Lord bless. Sports Draft History is out.